welcome back. And our second segment is focusing on the Ariel Rosado Foundation, their upcoming annual ride, and of course other activities that are planned for the organization. Joining me for this conversation is Alvaro Rosado, president of the Ariel Rosado Foundation, Salvador Awe, secretary, Wendy Assad, trustee, and Aaron Castillo, a rider/volunteer. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Now, before we get into the details of the ride itself, which takes place this month, let's talk about what the foundation has been up to at this point. I know you have some reports to make on 2014.
Well, actually, the foundation was established in January of 2012, so we are just into our fourth year. And the mission is really to provide educational and sporting opportunities for needy and deserving Belizean kids. We have been doing that for the last 3 years. As I said, we're into our fourth year now. And so far, we have given a number of scholarships. Mrs. Assad will be talking a bit more of scholarships that we gave. We have sort of settled in now. We've had a few ups and downs and mishaps here and there, but we've sort of settled now. And we have established firmly our board of directors and the president, hopefully not for very long, much longer. Somebody else should take over soon. Mr. Awe, Salvador Awe is the secretary, Mr. Winston Swift is the treasurer, and we have 4 trustees, Mrs. Assad, Mr. Dean Molina, who is also a legal advisor, Mr. Raven Robinson, and Dr. Dola Rosado. So there are 7 members of the board. We currently have about 20 people who are active in the foundation, who actively support and participate in all our activities. And we welcome new members at any time. Very important to note that our auditors are Swift & Associates. They're a private company, they're doing it pro bono, but they audit our accounts every year. We are doing business now as the Ariel Rosado Foundation, very generic thing, but we can have subsidiaries, if you want to put it that way. We are hoping that this year we can continue with what we have been doing so far, and I think we have done quite a bit in terms of scholarships and assisting in sporting activities. And with that, I will ask Mrs. Assad if she could talk
about the scholarships.
Well, the overall scholarships that we have given out so far within the 3 years is over 48 scholarships. And out of that, we have had about 17 that's for high school. We had, let me make sure that I'm giving you an accurate breakdown. Yes, that's 17. And we've had 4, okay, no, 17.
The scholarships are both high school and tertiary level?
Yes.
Okay.
We have 2 with Galen. Am I right, Dr. Rosado?
And how does one qualify? I mean, what's your preferred candidate for your scholarship program?
Well, it's overlooked by the board.
Okay.
Depending on their needs, their qualifications in manner of their academic schooling reports. And this is also followed up by Ms. Dola Rosado, who is the counselor. And at this point in time, we have 15 dedicated scholarships.
Okay.
And I'd like to call out and make note of these persons whom we are very grateful. We have the Arthur and Joyce Barrow Memorial Scholarship, the Belize Bank International Scholarship, Clive Alexander Tucker Memorial Scholarship, the Cynthia and Gary Magnus Scholarship, the Erdolfo and Rosauran Yunus Scholarship, the Full-Tech Scholarship, the Infotel Scholarship, the Louis Doreen Humphreys Scholarship, Ralph Fonseca Jr. Memorial Scholarship, the Axelu Memorial Scholarship, and Vidal Adolphus, the Said and Joan Musa Scholarship, the Sharon and Chester Walker Scholarship, Smart Scholarship, the Unicomer Limited Scholarship, and the Wet Lizard Scholarship. These scholarships are scholarships that have been and are being paid for a student throughout the year. So it's 4 years that full scholarship will be paid for these students.
And so that's one of the things that you actually solicit help for, that if there's a family or if there's a company that would like to provide scholarships but don't want to go through the application process and the sorting, they just want somebody else to identify and give on their behalf, that's what you have allowed to do through the scholarship program.
Basically, that's it. If you notice, we have quite a few memorial scholarships.
Yeah.
These are for people who have passed and who would like to have their memories living on. But we also have companies, corporate, Smart, Unicomer, the Bet Lizard, and the rest of the scholarships there. These are the dedicated scholarships. We hope we can get more, but we also raise funds to give other scholarships. And most of the funds for the other scholarships are for people who are already in high school. It's not necessarily that way, but that is where we try to help with those other funds. But for some reason are going to drop out. We have had a number of people in fourth form. They weren't being allowed to return because they couldn't pay fees and so on. So we take them on. We just took on 2 students from Sacred Heart College who are in third form and would not have been able to continue. So they are being assisted by the other funds. And just to talk about the criteria, our website is up and we're very proud of it now. It's just been updated recently. I want to thank Belize University Management Systems who handle the .com Belize, the .com Belize, whatever they call it.
It's domain, yeah.
The domain, the
Yeah.
Belize domain. They have offered us for free to set up the website, manage it, and so on. They've just updated it. And you can go to the website, it's the Ariel Rosado Foundation.bz, and you can download our scholarships, you can get the information, you can see the auditor's reports, and all the other information about the foundation.
Okay.
Now, in terms of the mission and the evolution of the foundation itself, let's talk about that since its inception to where you are now.
Well, I think like what Ms. Assad was saying, we have a group of dedicated scholarships. In addition to that, we raise funds to provide opportunities to other children that would be in a more of a sporting arena. We have 2 schools in the south side of Belize that we provide sailing scholarships to, where we have about 10 sailing scholars who go out. I don't know if you've seen them in the bay in those
Sea
little
Scouts,
boats,
yeah.
the Sea Scouts.
Yeah.
Well, not the Sea Scouts exactly, because they're 2 organizations.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is that they're providing these kids with an opportunity to learn how to sail. And you know, Belize has such a good tradition in sailing, and that's it's unfortunately been a dying tradition.
Yeah.
So with our support, these kids that may not have had the opportunity to be able to experience sailing can do so.
That's right. So you pay the fee for them to go attend the sailing group where they're going to learn to sail.
Yes.
Great.
They're given sessions every Saturday. We provide funding for 25 sailing sessions.
Okay.
So each of these kids, they go to Mejia's Dock on Saturday, and they spend about half day learning to sail. And we've had people from our scholarship fund who have participated in national regattas in San Pedro and Placencia and so on and so on. And it's one of the things we're very proud of.
And how do you identify the children that you will sponsor?
The Sailing Association, we tried to do it before, but
Okay.
we realized it was much more than just looking at kids and say, do you want to sail?
Yeah.
So we have people like Shelley Bradley, who is in charge of the Sailing Association. Alan Usher was a big help. They're the ones who now identify these kids, recruit them, and we pay for the expenses that they have.
Yeah.
Now, I was trying to get to how it has expanded since you first started, because you're talking about the sailing scholarships, you're talking about tertiary level, high school, and so much more. What's the trajectory in terms of the growth that you're looking at?
Well, really, I think we have more or less reached our first threshold. I think 30 scholarships is about what we can handle.
Yeah.
What we want to do now is to establish a fund where we can ensure, because as it is right now, it's almost year to year. And we want to establish a fund where when we recruit or when we give a scholarship, we have enough funds in there to last for the 4 years. Because we wouldn't want to get somebody up to third form and then all of us would say, well,
You don't
can't
have
do it.
enough, yeah.
So we're trying to put a corpus where we can earn interest and make that fund a revolving fund to go on and on and
Yeah,
on.
yeah. And essentially, I always remember when the foundation had first started, one of the things that obviously people had expected was that because Ariel was such an avid cyclist, that your primary focus would have been more sporting. But you've also emphasized over the years that education is really what is most important, in addition to sports, but education is your primary focus. So do you feel that that's where the majority of your efforts will be focused after this point?
Well, yes, I think so. I mean, one of the things that we always say about ourselves is that we're trying to promote song bodies and song minds. So, you know, sports is a very good way to also develop your mind. And we want to have basically these two criteria when we're looking at providing scholarship for anybody.
Yeah.
You know, how are they doing in school? What is their behavior like? What is their economic need? And then, you know, if they, for example, are involved in a sport, that's just an added extra.
Yeah, yeah. And the annual ride is also one of your main fundraisers, right? Tell us a bit about that.
This year, well, every year really, the ride begins at 6 a.m. on the 25th at our university partner. We actually have two university partners. In Belize, Galen, and in Canada, the University of Newfoundland. At 5 a.m. we begin with our registration, and of course we encourage folks to pre-register at our Donuts Bank Shop and Smiling Meats here in Belize City. But at 5 a.m. we'll be out there registering. At minutes to 6 we'll have a very, very short opening ceremony where our university partner from Canada, Memorial University, will be cutting the ceremonial ribbon. The ride will begin and we will proceed eastwards down the George Price Highway to Galen's campus in Belmopan, where we'll have our first rest stop. Because mind you, this is a ride, not a race. So, you know, we have the weekend warrior type. I think William might join us this year.
Yeah.
He's saying that his
I
bike
think
isn't
so too.
working. So the first rest stop is at the Galen campus in Belmopan at 10 minutes or so. We will then leave from there and proceed eastwards, and we'll have our second rest stop at the Chairs Restaurant. Again, another 10-15 minutes just to take a break, have a refreshment, and then we will head to Hatterville, where we will go through the boom cutoff and have our third rest stop at the Bissett gas station on the road. That is the final rest stop, because from there it's the haul into Belize City. So we're going to go on the Philip Goldson Highway and end at the Our Bar. We should be there around midday, give or take, and we'll have a small ending ceremony, and that's where the festivities begin. We'll have a live band out there. We'll have barbecue. It's a time for us to mingle with all of the riders and you know, pat everybody on the back for accomplishing such a long ride, because it really is a significant amount of time and a significant amount of distance.
And it's not professional athletes, it's just people who want to support the cause. Yeah.
I think it's very important that I'm looking at the clips now, and I always look at this thing and be amazed. The people who take part. Most people think it's for professional riders or cyclists and whatnot. In fact, that year we had a little girl, I think she was 8 years old. She might have been 10. But I remember that little girl with her father. Her father was helping her now and then. But she rode all the way from Central Farm to Belize. When she got to Boom at the rest stop that Sal mentioned, she came up and said, please make me go a little slower. Because I reach all this way and I want to finish. But we have had that. We have had 8-year-old, and contrast to that, we have had people like former Minister Joe Koyi. We had Cotty Bailey there, who are certainly up in their 70s, who do the ride and finish it as well. Aaron.
I was just going to say, Aaron is here. You have been one of the riders, or it's going to be your first?
My first year.
Actually, let me just put a background. Aaron is Ariel's niece, and she lives in Chicago, but she has come specifically to do parts of the ride if she can. Well, she can do parts. If she can do the whole thing, that would be good. But to help us as well. So let me.
So how have you been training to prepare for this?
I haven't.
does it mean to you to be able to participate in the race for the first time, in the ride for the first time?
Well, I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity to come down here for the time of the race, because I know usually I wouldn't have because of school, but I've been lucky enough to be able to come down to participate, and so I'm really excited to be able to, you know, celebrate my uncle by riding in the race and helping out.
Now, generally, we don't have a lot of young women participating in sports, so this is an important consideration as well, right? What would be your, the message that you pass on to, how old are you?
17.
To other young women who may not look at this as a thing that girls would undertake necessarily?
Well, I would just say that would be, you know, an interesting experience, and that you should try to go outside your comfort zone and try new things.
On average, how many riders do you have per year?
In 2013, I think we peaked. We had over 150.
Okay.
The first year we had over 100. 2013 we had over 150. I believe it was more. The count was really 178.
Okay.
Last year we dropped a bit. I'm not sure how much, but certainly around 125, 130.
Okay.
And we're hoping it will go on. But I'd like to just take up something that Sal said about our university partners. Galen University has been one of the original partners with us.
Yeah.
And they provide us with 3 university scholarships. We started with 2, and the third one was set up as an athletic scholarship. So it must be somebody who is in sports, who can do what Ariel did, which is sports education. And interestingly, the first such scholarship, which is named after Ariel's daughter, Sanaya Rosado Scholarship, went to Oscar Quiros, who is a cyclist, junior champion, national champion, and so on and so on. Basically what Ariel did. So we are grateful to Galen, and they participate with us. The second university that works with us is Memorial, that Sal mentioned, from Canada. They have been bringing a team with them ever since we started. So they bring a team from the university that rides, and they have also contributed. We have one of the jerseys from Memorial University, top of the line jerseys. I'd just like to mention it's there. We are selling them for $400. That's less than what it costs. As I said, it's what, top of the line. It's the 2-piece jersey with the bib, with the pants and all the paddings and whatnot. That is the lower part, Memorial University in Canada. And then we have the upper part. They've been donating these things to us along with the shirts. If you notice, Mrs. Assad has a different shirt on than what we have.
That's nice, yeah.
Yeah,
So you can have an official jersey for the ride.
Yes,
Yeah.
Those are special and very limited.
Yeah.
As I said, I think we have about 7 or 8 of those. The regular jerseys, we have the regular Ariel Rosado local jerseys that we have here. And that is available for people who register in the $100 category. And
Okay.
maybe Sam might want to talk about the registration.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, you can pre-register at Ordonis and Smiling during this week and up to the race itself. And there are 3 categories of sponsorship when you register, and each category has different add-ons. At the very basic level, you will be able to participate in the race, and you will get refreshments, because we're very cognizant of the fact that we are catering to the weekend warrior type of rider. So we'll make sure that everybody gets their snacks and their hydration.
Yeah.
And then at the middle level, you can get a barbecue at the end of the ride. So there's lots of ways that you can participate, just depending on your ability.
Okay. So the basic registration fee is what again?
$25.
25, and then the different categories that you can enter.
$25 gives you the service: ambulance, police,
Yeah.
power bar, Gatorade, bananas, oranges, Johnny cake if you want, kind of thing. And for $50 you get the same service along with a shirt like
Okay.
this. And for $100 you get the same service with a jersey.
Jersey.
Like that.
Okay.
I want to make sure that I mention Rome Badio, who I think was mentioned earlier. He was one of the original sponsors. He attended the inaugural meeting for the foundation. He was one of the first to contribute financially. And every year, except for last year when he had other commitments, he would service. On the clip, you'd probably see him running up and down the cycle servicing the people. So I'd like to ask for prayers for Rumi and best wishes to his family. And
So the race takes, the
Ride.
ride takes
On the
place.
25th.
it's the third Saturday after Easter, just so it's not a specific date.
Yeah.
So last year was May 10th. I think the year before it was April 21. This year it's April 25th. And I just want to make sure that we mention at the end, we're having the end at our bar, and I want to thank Smiling Meats who provide the barbecue and sponsor us in other ways. The Ministry of Transport who will be providing traffic control for us, Belize City Council, Police Department. Blue Steel Songs has every year provided the sound system and the DJ and whatnot for us at the end. And of course we can't leave out Imperial Man who provide entertainment, if you want to put it that way, at the end of the ride.
And so once the race is complete, once the ride is completed at our bar around midday, it's kind of just a hangout, support by purchasing food and enjoying the music as well, right?
Yes.
And if you're not going to be riding, you can join the group at that point, right?
We hope you'll be there. We have sailing and we have the music and we have the barbecues. We're also selling barbecues and tickets are available from board members, or they can call 600-6665 or 223-5674.
Okay.
And I believe you're looking to wrap us up now.
Yes.
So I just want to mention some of our sponsors. Besides the dedicated scholarships that Mrs. Assad mentioned, we want to thank all the media houses, especially Channel 5, who have been very, very facilitating in getting us to get the message out. Barrow and Company, the Belize Bank International, Belize Telemedia Limited, usually has the biggest team out there. We want to thank them and recognize them. BL has a big team. BWSA has a big team. They probably make up, they definitely make up more than half of the riders out there, the bigger teams.
Yeah.
We want to encourage the other teams to come in. Boeing and Boeing provides us with water and so on. Galen University, Full Tech Systems, Habet and Habet, they put their truck out there to bring the riders in. Mention that we have a bus, so you can jump in the race at any time. You jump in at Central Farm, you ride 5 miles, you get tired, you jump in the bus. Get a Belmopan, you jump in again, you get in the bus, and so on and so on. It's fun. Then we have Joel L's Beauty Salon that helps us out, our bar and grill. Jackie's Hair Explosion, Memorial University, the Pediatric Center, San Ignacio Resort Hotel, big sponsor, provide us with accommodations for the officials for the ride. Smart, Smiling Meats, Unicorn Mirror, and Wet Lizard.
Well, we definitely wish you the best with this year's undertaking, and we encourage people to register and participate.
Where do they register?
Ordonez.
Ordonez
Smiling
Bike
Meats.
Shop.
And you can also register on the day of the ride
Excellent.
at Galen.
Well, thank you once again for joining us, and best of luck.
Thank you all
Thank you.
for having us. We're grateful.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back,
It'll be to meet an author of a book called A Family Affair, Olatunji, will be here with us in a few. We'll be right back after these messages.